What's happening, everybody? Hopefully you're all having a great day and a great evening. We are back. International football has finished now for the rest of the season. Next up is clearly end of the season friendlies and obviously internationals, World Cup in America. But we have, obviously it feels like a fucking forever that we haven't been live. Honestly, I feel like I've let you guys down. I do apologize. Leo Watts in the chat with West 12 Pete. How you lot doing? Hope you are all having a good evening. What's up, DB? Good to be back in action. It is, man, honestly. Now we've got a lot to get into, honestly, today, because I'm gonna be honest with you, we have some bad news, but we'll get into that at the end of the stream. But let's start off with a positive, right? Let's start off with positive. Obviously, England, you know, I don't really want to talk about England, to be honest. I'm not surprised, but listen, QPR back in action on Friday, Good Friday, 3 o'clock kickoff against Watford at home. You know, we've just come off of a great 2-game result, beating Portsmouth 6-1 and obviously beating Leicester 3-1 away. 2 great games. Now, what was I kind of expecting coming into this game? Well, I wanted some good news from the club. We wanted some news from the club, and it seems like something's happened, which we'll get into. Yeah, Nick, hi DB, hope you're well. I'm good, man, I'm good. How are you doing? Pete says, Bra Madsen back in training. Well, we've seen images. We've seen it. The thing is positively, sorry, we've seen stuff. That's the main thing. But the negativity will come, obviously, you know, coming into it. Scotty M, welcome to the chat. Thank you for tuning in. Hopefully you're having a good day. But look, there's only one way to start this off, and obviously let's get started with the match preview. We will. So we got Watford 3 o'clock Good Friday, 3rd of April. Now Watford are sitting 9th, obviously, with 56 points plus 4 goal difference. We're sitting 12th at the moment. Minus 6 goal difference. Our goal difference has gone up a bit after that result we've had against Leicester and Pompey. With 53 points. We have an opportunity to get 10th position, depending on how results go our way, obviously, in this week's set of games. You know, it's going to be a busy week. We got Friday and Monday coming up. 2 big games as well. But, yeah. Watford, what do we know about them? Well, they beat us at their ground at the start of the season. The best memories, obviously, for us was obviously Kieran Morgan scoring that thunder strike against Watford at their ground at the start of the season. But what beat us was literally what I said would beat us before, was wing play goals, and that's what they did. You know, they had a lot of height in the box at the time. They still have that height, and that guy is doing an incredible job for Watford up front. He has been. You know, they have some incredible players at Watford as well to deliver balls in. But obviously, coming from there to now, Watford obviously have had their different managers in as well at the club, as well as other clubs in the Championship this season. So obviously they started off with, I can't remember who they actually started off with. I got to remember. It was, I think it was Pezzolano, wasn't it? Then he got sacked, and then Charlie Daniels came in. Obviously for literally what, two games maybe, and then obviously now they've brought in Edward Still, who has played what, 8 games with Watford as manager. 3 wins, 3 draws, 2 losses. It looks like it, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, I don't know much about what his playing style is, but we can only go by with what we see in their recent results. So I'll have a look at that now. So obviously their previous result was Leicester 0-0, where it looks like Leicester dominated the game at home, well, at Watford, and momentum was 50-50. It looks like Watford have a bit of glimpse in certain things, but expected goals is a good thing to see. That is very low for them. And the dog is growling. Well, there we go. Great start. They did beat Wrexham at home. They did. Very weird. Possession wise was all Wrexham. But most of them started the game with the momentum, it looks like was Watford. Now, I'll be honest with you, looking at the stats and everything, I feel like they play a similar game to what Julian does in counter-fluing attack, in getting them goals. I'd be honest, I can see a bit of attack sometimes at Watford. They've dominated Watford. Well, they lost against Stoke, but they dominated the game. They did. So very, very similarities there with Julian and this manager, I would say, with the goals. So, you know, they drew 1-1 with Wednesday. You know, look, with the form that they're in and what we're coming into, I'm hoping for a good result. You know, it's gonna be hard as always. You know, they got some cracking players to watch out for. You know, I don't know where their goals come from in the last couple of games. You know, they have been scoring goals, but the danger man to watch out for is obviously that tall striker Luca up front for them. You know, it looks like they've played a 4-4-2 lately. The main guys are obviously Bolo on the left back, with 3 assists, 2 goals. Pollock obviously in the middle of a good rating there, 1 assist, 1 goal for them. You know, their keeper Selvik has a good rating as well. Irakunda, 3 goals, 4 assists on the right, and their main man Loser, 8 assists, 6 goals in the middle. You know, we've all watched Ekwa as well. He seemed to be a decent player when we played them at home, well, at their ground. And obviously Kiembe with 4 goals, 1 assist for Watford. So their strikers score goals similar to what we do with Burrell and Kone. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see something similar as a game plan, what they put out like we do. Now, obviously, the only way that I can see it happening is we need to do the same thing as we did against Leicester and Portsmouth, you know. Not just counterattacks, but the thing that I saw against Portsmouth was a lot better, was the fact that the finishing was absolutely superb. Will we play the same team? You know, everyone's had a rest now, 2 weeks. Coney hasn't been on international break. You know, the only person I think, obviously, Harvey Vale, Jimmy Dunn, Paul Smith, Isaac Hayden, they're the ones probably going to get a rest. Well, I hope to see a rest. But apart from that, I'm hoping, obviously, Coney continues his form against Watford for sure. You know, I think he played a terrific game. I'm not gonna lie, he played a terrific game against, I believe it was Pompey. You know, Harvey Vale's been superb last couple of games, but I think Kone is whatever he was playing against Pompey, it was really good. You know, at the start of the game, it was a very big improvement to see him not lose the ball so much, and his control was pretty better. He was passing the ball a lot more. And then second half, once he scored that penalty, he looked like he wanted to score goals. You know, I don't know where the hunger's been, but it seems to be back. So yeah. But it looks good for us. Obviously coming into this game with 2 wins on the trot. Watford obviously got a better form than us. You know, but this is like a must win as well. You know, everyone knows this. We all know this. You know, Julian has some confidence, you know, coming into these games, especially with the positive news that we're getting in the club now. And obviously we need to, in my opinion, finish in the top 10. I still think it's a realistic result, realistic objective. I think we could do it still. I personally think if we work hard, we get wins on the belt at home. You know, some away games as well there. That's what our main focus is the rest of the season. Just finish top 10. Let's finish the season strong. Let's not get too hasty with playoffs or anything like that. Let's not think that far, because yes, okay, it's still an opportunity to do so, but let's be honest, you know, we're going to be in the Championship next season. We have a better chance of going up next season, and with all the news that's going on, obviously, you know, let's see what happens from there. But you know, danger people to watch out for, obviously Loser in the middle, and you know, Chakovetes looks quality in on that wing. But our defense, we need to make sure Jimmy Dunn is in the middle this time against Watford to cover that striker, and I think Ronnie Edwards would do a terrific job as well. But yeah, that's how I see it. You know, attack wise, you know, do we stick with 2 up front? if they're performing like against Portsmouth, maybe, but I feel like we're still lacking creativity in certain areas. You know, Kieran Morgan has had some, you know, last game he did all right. I'm not gonna lie. You know, he's been phenomenal on his international duty, but still, honestly, you know, I know I give him a lot of grief this season, but it's all love at the end of the day because I want him to succeed at QPR and I think he will. You know, we all know what Kieran Morgan's capable of because we saw it last season. You know, but I'm not trying to push. I haven't said he's shit whatsoever. I just want to state that because I know a lot of things on Twitter go on about how he's shit and all that. I want to state he's not shit. All I want to say is that Kieran Morgan has not had really a great season this season. You know, he's been obviously different manager, different playing style. Maybe it's that, but he's been doing the job on international duty. So all due respect, you know, I can't wait to see what he does next season and hopefully some other youngsters as well that come in off of loan spells into the club. But yeah, apart from that, that's pretty much all lit for talking about Watford. You know, we know what we need to do. The danger guys are, you know, we have a chance to get into 10th position. I highly doubt it's going to happen because obviously Norwich are on an incredible form at the moment with Sandfield over there. You know, Birmingham, we need them to lose. Birmingham have actually got Blackburn, which is going to be kind of difficult for Blackburn, and Norwich got Pompey. So, you know, 2 easy opponents there for them guys. So yeah, pretty much that's all it. If you know anything about anyone that we need to watch out for or anything, put it in the comments below after the live stream. Would be great to see what your interests are in what this game can produce. But I honestly, my prediction is I think we're going to go out and get a 2-0 win. I personally think that, you know, we're looking positive. If we keep up the game plan that we have against the last 2 opponents, you know, we've had a rest. Let's finish off the season strong. Top 10 finish. Bam. Easy done it. Want to see Burrell come back. Looks like it's coming. And yeah, we go from there. But apart from that, that is it for the Watford part. Now, on other news, what is the... Well, actually, do you know what? I'll look at the comments first before we get into news. You know, obviously, Westphal Peter said something there, which I'll get into in a second. Hard to imagine JS changing the side after last results, but I hope to see more additions on the bench. I think we're going to see our new striker on the bench, hopefully, and see what he does. And out of players on the bench, I would like to see Poku start or at least get 45. Listen, he's not ready yet. I'm telling you right now, let's like I said this on Twitter, Poku-wise, let's not think about putting him in the first team at the moment. On the bench, he's doing a terrific job. Let's work him into it and see what he does there because I don't want him injured over pre-season. Otherwise, we're fucked completely. So yeah, let's take it easy with him. I don't think he should start yet unless Julian thinks he is. But I think this season, let's just give him some game time off the bench and get him warmed up for next season and get them goals and what he's meant to do this season that he was meant to do. So yeah. Westphal Pete says top 12 would be more realistic. It is, you know, listen, look, with the amount of games that are left, you know, with points there, I would say top 10 still, but I get what you mean with the 12th, you know, the 12th position right now, you know, I think what it is, someone obviously, I don't know who it was, I can't remember who it was, but they said, what was the improvements? There's been no improvements, Julian needs to go and all of that, but at the end of the day, he's literally 1 win away, I think it is, from an improvement of last season. So, to me, that is an improvement, you know, position-wise, you know, goal difference is kind of similar to what happened last season. Points-wise, we're very close to beating the points from last season, so, in my opinion, yeah, he has done a terrific job. Goal-wise, I don't know if we've scored more goals. I'm not sure. I'll have to calculate it and go from there. So, yeah. Hope we're underdogs next season. Well, technically, we were underdog. Well, were we underdogs this season? I know there was a lot of people on social media saying that we were the dark horses of the league this season because of the signings that we made. But personally, I thought the signings were brilliant, but... You know, until Julian actually understands what he needs and what he wants to play and the type of team he wants, then I can guarantee you he'll get us up there. I reckon he will get us up there. I reckon he'll be the manager to get up to the Premier League. You know, whether it's next season, it would be great if it was next season because it's been a long time. But yeah, we're a London club that deserve to be up there. Scotty says he's young and learning to Kieran Morgan's obviously thing. Yeah. Listen, look, I highly rate him. You know, a lot of people do. And you know, a young man like that coming into a championship, he's done really well. You know, it's just this season is a bit of a different season for him. Apart from Hayden, none of our other players barely played over the international break, so I'd assume it'll be the same team, but Varane instead of Hayden. Yeah, I think Kieran Morgan and Varane will probably be the choice, and going from there. You know, obviously there's certain people that are coming back from injury that we don't want to rush back yet, so we go from there. West P says we are home or away. We're at home on Friday, and I think we're away on Monday. Let me just have a look. So yeah, we're hang on, what the hell's going on here? Let me go on QPR quickly. I need to look at the fixtures on QPR. Yeah, so our home on Friday and away on Monday to Preston. Not many games left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 games after Friday. 6 games left. Season's almost over. We're gonna have a busy summer on YouTube and everything, getting through certain things and going from there. Really, I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully you guys are as well. Going from there. We were meant to be underdogs, but they all got injured. Yeah, I know, Pete. I know. It happened last season as well. You got to remember, it's happened. Listen, in football, I'm not surprised. You know, out of every club, and when they started the season off and said that injuries happen, it's football. I don't know any other club like ours has had worse luck with injuries in the last 3 seasons. It's mental. It's really bad. Our final fixtures aren't even that bad, apart from Ipswich and Millwall. The only threat is Millwall away. Yeah, not Millwall, Ipswich. You know, Millwall away as well can be a bit of a threat because of they're fighting for promotion. So yeah. Nick says, I don't know, DB, whether you heard JS in West London Sport questioned him about 4-4-2, and he said it's more or less the best at the moment with the players that he has. Listen, look, if anyone actually listens to that guy on West London after the flipping question he asked him about, obviously, does he pick the team or what? I get it. I understand why he said it. But listen, look, at the end of the day, I have belief in my head coach at QPR. And I think we all need to. You know, he's been the one that's been picked. And we have to trust him, you know, even though we hate the 4-4-2. I hate the 4-4-2. But he's French. And how many French managers use it? I can name a lot. You know, it all started off with Arsene Wenger at Arsenal. So there's a reason. Look, if it's best for his team and his tactics at the moment with what he's got, then cool. But next season, hopefully, we can see something different. So yeah, because it needs to be switched around. I think, you know, the goals and the clean sheets have been a problem. Injuries has been a problem. So yeah. Edwards is 74 rated on FIFA. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. You know, you got to remember, championship players and certain players will always be underrated, you know, on FIFA. And that's why I tell people it's going to be hard for me to go back onto that game. You know, I've loved FIFA for, how old am I? For? Like, I've played FIFA on a PlayStation since the age of 5, you know, and I would say I started losing interest in FIFA when it went from FIFA to EA. I would say I lost very interest. I think I lost more interest when Ultimate Team came out as well. I was, you know, they don't concentrate on certain things, and for me, I'm a career mode guy. So, you know, a lot of people love Ultimate Team. It's a money maker, so they're gonna concentrate on that. But yeah, that I'll only say that. I'm hoping. You know what? I will say something after this. But it's just because obviously I feel bad about what's going to happen next. This obviously in the next couple of days. So yeah. Pete says Vale and Kone has gone up to 72. Fair enough. Well, listen, look, I might end up being on Twitch soon and our channel continuing our QPR career mode, and we'll see what we do. I'm not meaning anything bad because he said he had played 4-2-3-1, I think, in France, just saying. Yeah, listen, look, at the end of the day, you know, like I said, we have to have faith in Julian. You know, at the end of the day, he's the one that's in charge of choosing the players, choosing the team, choosing what the tactics on the day, what they're doing, and going from there. Listen, look, we have some great coaches in Betsy and some others. You know, I'm not gonna say anything on Steve Bold at the moment, but I would say Betsy has been a big improvement for us in the sense of player development. As you can see, the young players that are coming into this club now are looking really more exciting each season, you know. So I'm happy with it. I like Julian. I've never, as everyone knows, you lot have been frustrated with me. I don't want him gone. I want him stayed. I don't think he should get sacked. You know, a lot of people in the chat have said get rid of him, all of that. I get it. I totally understand it. But in my opinion, I feel like we can, you know, until I see something that's unreliable, then cool. I will agree with you 100%. But I've seen things with Julian that Marty hasn't done, you know? And it excites me, you know? I fucking love how we played at the start of the season, and I think everyone else did too, you know? I've not seen us attack like that since... like, it's been a while, a long time, and it gave me a breath of fresh air to see that at QPR. It really did. You know, it's astonishing to actually see, like, you know, Michael Bill, for example, you know, he brought a breath of fresh air at QPR, but, you know, at the end of the day, all good things come to an end, you know, when something like that happens. But Julian-wise, I think I'll be honest, I think we can do it next season, you know. Let's see what we bring in and go from there. So, yeah. But on other news, I will start off with the injuries first. So, as everyone knows, QPR have finally brought out yesterday, I think it was, an injury update on what we are getting to see now. So, we have seen in videos Burrell back in training, we've seen Madsen back in training, we've seen the new striker in training, all positive. Like I said, I'm only going to believe stuff when I start seeing them on social media for QPR, and we have done. So that's a positive. They have announced, well, obviously, QPR, one of the QPR Instagrams have said that Madsen will, like, every player should be back by the end of April, you know? That's how I can see it. Now, another positive thing is Ilias Share has officially been shown on the channel, on the QPR channel, YouTube channel, and he's been seen now, and he's been obviously saying about his injury problem and stuff like that. Now, I haven't watched a full interview on YouTube, I've only watched a glimpse on Instagram, but for what I'm seeing is that I don't know what to say about it yet, because I know obviously the injuries for him are a big thing, we all know this, but you know, I don't know if there's more to it or not, but I'll be glad to see. Now I'm kind of glad to see him in the, you know, video. I can fully say we'll probably see him again at the end of the season. Now, you know, I don't think we're gonna get Burrell back until end of April. Madsen end of April. You know, Dembele and Ziyad are both out for the rest of the season. It looks like it, but it looks like we're gonna get some players back before the end of the season just to play the last couple of games. So that to me is a positive, 100%. But I'm happy. There's nothing about Nardi P, nothing whatsoever. I think he's done with. I'll be honest. I think he's done with at QPR. I'm not too sure what's his issue. I'm hoping we see him next season, but for what I'm seeing on the news at the moment, is QPR are after a different, interested in a new keeper yet again. And yeah, if that is the case, I reckon Nardi will be gone. You know, Joe Walsh, I think the confidence there has kind of gone downhill for him. I think Julian is kind of understanding that. And yeah, we go on from there really. So yeah, but apart from that, Burrell 100% looks like he's back in 2 to 3 weeks, hopefully. You know, I don't think he'll be on the bench, even though he's training. You got to remember, when he says 2 to 3 weeks back, it only means he'll be on the bench. It doesn't mean he'll be back in the squad on the first 11, but he'll be back on the bench. So that's a good thing to see. Madsen wise, we've missed him. We need him. He's our key man to midfield. He's our machine, as well as Burrell is. But yeah, it's all positive signs there, and that's good news. I'm trying to see if I can find the injury update on here, but I can't seem to find it. I'm actually trying to look. I know Watford have posted something about their injury stuff. I'm actually looking on a website now to see what it's saying on news-wise. I know it was here. I can't see it now. Okay, well, unless they've taken it down, I don't know. Does anyone know if it's on the channel, on the injury update? Here we go, I found it. So Nick says, again, I'm not back in West London sport, but Kevin Gallen made good points about players getting injury after injury. Yeah, listen, look, I agree with Kevin Gallen all the way. You know, he played football. At the end of the day, he's QPR in and out, and he's one of my favourite players at QPR he was. So yeah, I back him all the way, whatever he says, to be honest. Right, here it is. So following the final international break of the season, the club would like to provide supporters with an injury update. Justin Obekwu picked up a fibular injury shortly after joining the club in January. He returned to the team training early this month and has been building his conditioning ahead of his return. Burrell is progressing well following a period of individual work. The striker has now returned to the team training, and if he continues on his current rehab path, is expected to be available for selection in the next 2 to 3 weeks. Nicholas Madsen and Elias Scher have obviously hamstring and calf injuries, have both returned to pitch following their respective injuries and are expected to return to the team training in early April. So we should see them next week in training, possibly, and possibly see them hopefully at the same time as Burrell coming back. So yeah. Meanwhile, Ziyech and Dembele continue their progress through late and early stage rehabs following their ACL injuries. So 2 ACL injuries this year we've had, really bad. Not great there. But yeah, positive news there on injuries. That's a good plus. You know, to the end of the season, we're hopefully going to be stronger, and we can go from there. Now, to the negative news, the bad news, which you lot are probably not going to be happy with me with. So I kind of fucked up with my days during the holidays, and I forgot to book holidays. So in my company, the people that I work for, unfortunately, we work on bank holidays unless we book it off. And idiot me has forgot to book Friday and Monday off. So I usually finish work at 4. Now, realistically right now, I don't think there's going to be a watch along on Friday and Monday, which is going to be upsetting. But there will be a match preview, obviously, today, a match reaction after the game on Saturday. I will put out on Saturday, I promise you I will. And obviously match preview Sunday and Monday, there'll be a match reaction there. But if you guys are okay with this, if you guys want this, what I can try and do is this. I can still set up a stream prepared for Friday, and if I get home on time, I might possibly be able to do the second half. If you are okay with that and you're happy for that, I'm more than willing to come on and do the second half of the watch along, as long as I finish on time. But that's only if I finish on time. I'll set it up as a promise, but realistically right now, I don't know if it's gonna happen. No, we need a watch along. I know, Pete. I'm really pissed off of it. I've tried to get it off, but it's literally difficult to get it off in the position, obviously my work position I'm in. I will try to get the second half in. I will try my best to get the second half, but I will say this. I know we haven't streamed in 2 weeks. Pretty much 2 weeks. We haven't streamed in 2 weeks. Now, I will try. I have been trying this week. I will try to do a FIFA, a QPR, continue the QPR career mode on YouTube. I will try. But it's so hard because I don't enjoy the game anymore. It is. So yeah. But apart from that, I promise you we'll still be having a match reaction and a match previews as we will this week. But if you guys fancy it, I will set up the streams still for Friday and Monday. And I will try my best to tune in for the second half. I will. Yeah? Hopefully you're okay with that. I know it's really bad and it's my fault. I'm gonna put my hands up. You know, I'm really upset about it, to be honest, because I really enjoy doing this for this right now. Honestly, doing this is like, honestly, the club that I love, and loving seeing you guys watch me watch along. It's brilliant, honestly. You know, it's kind of therapeutic, but it's also something I didn't expect to be doing. But yeah, it's been really fun chatting with you guys, the QPR community, not just QPR community, but literally everyone that, even away fans, like other teams that come in and tune in. I really respect it, appreciate it, love it. You know, it's really, really brilliant, honestly. And I hope it continues next season as well. Like I said, with how it's gone this season, I'm hoping for a summer where we're going to have a lot more things out in summer. We'll have more time, hopefully, and go from there. But apart from that, we're going to leave it there with the match preview of QPR v Watford. Like I said, I'm not going to promise anything just yet, but hopefully we can get a second half watch along going on Friday and go from there, really. Hopefully there's not much traffic because obviously it's at home. So, yeah. Apart from that, thank you all for tuning in. Thank you, Pete, Nick, as always, AB, True Love there. Who else we got? Scott, thank you for tuning in. Leo, new chatter. I've not seen you in chat before, so thank you for tuning in as well. Thank you for being in here. But yeah, much love to all you guys. Have a great evening, and yeah, hopefully we get the result we do need on Friday. Come on, yours. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe if you want to, and we will catch you next time. Peace out, people. Peace out, positivity as always. Catch you in a bit.